Hello guys, and welcome to this website design course with WordPress and Elementor. We are still in module 1 and we are still examining the setup process. So in this particular video we will be looking at the domain name and web hosting. Before you have your website live on the internet, you need to get a domain name and web hosting. So by the end of this video you know what this means and how you can go ahead and get it. Now usually in some cases this is always the first thing you ought to do when you want to start your website design. You need to get your domain name and then get your web hosting, then you begin to build your website online. In a future video I'll show you how you can design your website on your local computer, and when you are done with everything and you are satisfied with what you have done, you will now upload it to a live server. So if you are following that process, that means you get your web hosting and domain name at the end of everything, and I usually do it that way. So I'm going to take you through the step-by-step process how you can make this happen. So let's get into the course. In this video you'll be examining what is a domain name, then we'll go ahead to see what is web hosting. You'll see web hosting companies in Nigeria, you'll see international web hosting companies, and then we'll take a look at web hosting with Q Servers. Q Servers is one of the Nigerian companies, and after that we'll also see web hosting with CSK. Okay, so how you can go ahead and get your domain name and web hosting with these companies. Then lastly we are going to do our WordPress installation, and then you'll be ready to start designing. So let's go further. What is a domain name? A domain name is simply the address of your website. Take Google for instance. We see google.com, that is Google's domain name. Or we look at Facebook where we have facebook.com, that is Facebook's domain name. So it is something that will make your website unique, so that no other website will have that kind of name. Okay, so take for instance that we are in the real world. Okay, each of the houses that exist on earth will need to have a unique address. If not, there will be confusion everywhere. Let's say two houses bear the same address, maybe in the same city, and then a mail is addressed to that particular address. I mean, the delivery person will have problems knowing which of the houses to deliver the mail to. So that's the same thing with the internet. Each of the millions or billions of websites that resides on the internet do have their own unique name. Before you can build any website, you need to decide on a name, and this name is usually related to the real name of that business, so that people will know. Let's say your business is called XYZ Construction. Okay, then your website should also be XYZ Construction, so that if people know the name of your business, then they can easily use that to get to your website. So we have this picture here to try to explain what we are talking about. Let's begin from this HTTPS. You can see under it that it's written the protocol. Now what protocol means is just like the protocol in real life. That is an order how things flow. Alright, so the real meaning is hypertext transfer protocol, and in some cases you'll see this S, which stands for security. That means this website is secured, and in the cases where you don't see this S, that means that website is not secured, and the information you transmit on that website is easily or can easily be copied by a third party. Alright, so that's the protocol. Then we move over to this place where we have www. You can see under it is written the subdomain, and this stands for World Wide Web. The next one is example.com. So this example will usually be your own website's name. So whatsoever you want to name it, you put it here. Then .com is the top level domain. So these two put together will usually be the domain name. Now this is where it's supposed to stop. But if you want to add the subdirectory part, then that means that you are referring to other web pages on that website. So you can have /services. That means you've gotten to the home of your website and you have now navigated to the services page. Or you can have /contact, which means you have now navigated to the contacts page. So all of this now put together is called a URL, which also means Universal Resource Locator. Right, so as we proceed, you get to understand more on what is the domain name. Let's move on to the next slide. Web hosting is simply the space where you store your files on the internet. For you to own an active website, you need to have text, you need to have images, you need to have audio or video that you put on the internet, and usually these files will reside in another computer called the server, which belongs to the web hosting company. So that is simply what is called web hosting. It is the space that you pay for so that you can store your files or your documents on the internet, and this server is usually on 24 hours of the day, so that anytime somebody wants to access it, it will usually be available. Alright, so I've included here that files include text, images, audio, and video. You can put these things on your website, and then anytime somebody wants to access it, it will be available, because the web hosting company's server is always 24 hours. So that is just it for web hosting. I don't want to make this so cumbersome. I just want to keep it really simple. So you just have to understand that web hosting is simply a space on the internet that you have paid for, and this space is where you put all your files. So you just have to look at it like the house you are living in. Let's say the domain name is your address, then your web hosting is the house you are living in, the house where you store your things. You keep your television there, you keep your shoes there, you keep everything inside. So it is the same thing where you store your files, where you store your information that other people will access, is the web hosting space. Now let us quickly look at some web hosting companies in Nigeria. Why I want us to look at this is because, this course is meant mostly for entrepreneurs in Nigeria, or people that hope to acquire the skill and use it either for freelancing or to begin to build websites for people and earn a living from it. So usually getting a website from web hosting company in Nigeria is easier, because if you want to get from the foreign companies or the international companies, first you pay much more than what you are paying to a Nigerian company, and secondly, you need to have a dollar card for you to be able to buy these things from them. So just to cut out all of that stress, I've listed these companies, and some of these companies can give you domain names for free, so you only need to pay for the web hosting, and we are going to see how you go about doing that in this course. Alright, so the first one is Q Servers, and this is their website there. Then we have Hugo Host, then we have Domain King, we have CK Systems, and then we have Web for Africa. Now I've used some of these web hosting companies, and they are quite reliable, very reliable. So as a starter, you don't need to have any problem with this. Just go ahead, choose any one of them, and I'll include the link. I'm going to include this link in this course. So you just check on the download section, you see you'll see a document that you download with this link, so you can choose any one of them and go ahead to get the web hosting from them. Now here are the international web hosting companies. Okay, we have Bluehost, we have HostGator, we have Namecheap, Hostinger. There are many, quite a number of them. So you can also do your research, check the reviews, but trying to get your web hosting from these companies as a beginner, you are going to run into some kind of hurdles. Okay, so if you are ready to surmount the hurdles, like getting a dollar card, like paying in dollars and all of that, it's all fine. It's your choice and you make the call. Alright, so I'm going to end this video here, and then I'll continue with how you can actually get the hosting and your domain name in the next video. Thank you for watching.